Welcome back. We're coming to you live from the Sultan Ahmet neighborhood of Istanbul, overlooking the Hagia Sophia as we look at the situation of Armenians in Turkey today. Joining me are Cengiz Aktar, organizer of Apology Campaign, Etienne Machopian, a Turkish Armenian journalist and writer, and Ambassador Yalim Eralp, a former advisor to Prime Ministers Mesut Yilmaz and Tansu Çiller. And we were discussing some of the approaches the US might take. We had an email, and Dr. Cengiz Aktar, if I can put this to you, an email from France, from Bruno Druski, regular viewer, who says, would it be possible to hold an international historical conference with historians from Armenia, Turkey and the neutral countries to define the actual level of historical knowledge on this question? Could that help determine it once and for all? Of
course, but the thing is that on the Armenian side, there is an over-knowledge regarding the genocide. Whether in Turkey, the knowledge is extremely dull. It will take time for these poor historians to understand each other, I'm afraid.
Ambassador, you're against the idea of, as you said, some kind of
I disagree with Turkey's president when he said this is not a legal question, but a historian's problem. Well, of course, historians can discuss it, but they don't have the legal capacity to define what it is. Because Turkey is or the Ottoman Empire is being accused of a crime against humanity. Whether it's ethnic cleansing, war crimes, or genocide, I don't know. Both sides have a lot of documents before them. For example, some Turkish historians would show the declaration of the first independent Armenians Prime Minister, when he said, well, we collaborated with the Russians and attacked the Ottomans first. I'm sure the Armenian side has some other document. So it's not for me to decide. But Turkey should show empathy. That we have not done. Indeed, we have not shown empathy to our own dead because we've been in war so many times, starting with the Balkan Wars.
Actually, Mr. Etienne Machopian, this is one of the key issues. A lot of people saying, look, this is 100 years old now, this issue, and generations are so far removed from it. What does Armenia really stand to get out of this? Is there anything beyond just getting Turkey to admit something from its opinion, in its opinion?
Well, I think the problem is not an Armenian problem, but it's a Turkish problem in the first place. And it's not a historical problem, but it's a problem of today. Because the reason that Turkey could not recognize this issue as a genocide or not, we cannot recognize it as a historical issue, as a historical event yet. The reason for that is that the cadres that were involved in 1915 were almost the same cadres that founded the republic. So it's a continuum, and that's why it is a part of the regime today. So facing 1915 is facing the regime today for the Turkish people. And that's why Armenia can only gain a new future if Turkey can gain its present today, you see. If it can face and can discuss openly its regime and how it's connected to İttihat Terakki, which was the governing body in 1915. So it is dependent on what Turkey can do, really.
Well, let's get a caller. We've got Hussein on the line from London. Hussein, what would you like to ask?
Hi, good evening. This is Hussein speaking from London. What will be the consequences if Turkey acknowledges the genocide?
That's an interesting point, Ambassador. What would be the consequences if Turkey acknowledges the genocide?
There would be none. But you see, again, the question of acknowledging it is impossible. The late President Özal once asked me whether he could acknowledge it. I said, legally you can't do it. If one of the descendants of that time were to sue you, they would be right in the absence of a court decision. That is
Let's assume there was a court decision and it was established.
None, because there are two questions. One is the question of reparations, and the other is territory, right? Now, on the question of reparations or territory, that question has been settled in the Lausanne Treaty. Indeed, Turks have a problem in dealing with this question openly. Nowadays we are dealing it, and we should, you know, because it's a freedom of expression. The Armenian side has a problem, which is the recognition of the 1921 Kars Treaty, which is the recognition of the border. About 2 months ago, CNN had an interview with the present foreign minister of Armenia, Nalbandyan. And the reporter wanted to ask whether Armenia recognizes the 1921 treaty. And Nalbandyan told him not to ask the question. So there they have a problem also, right, because of their declaration of independence, which speaks of Western Armenia, which means Eastern Turkey. So both sides have problems, but that does not prevent them from opening the border. Right. That's a separate issue. I don't expect the Armenians all of a sudden to say, well, no, it wasn't genocide, because that's a question of identity for them.
Okay, we have a caller on the line from Geneva. Amir, thanks for being with us. What would you like to ask?
Yes, good afternoon. My question is to the panelists. You probably are aware about the negative attitude of Azerbaijani government and the public to the opening of the borders between Armenia and Turkey. How would this development affect the relationship between Turkey and its close ally Azerbaijan, and also how would it affect the ambition of Turkey to play a more important role in the region of South Caucasus? Thank you so much.
Amir, thank you. A good question. Actually, Dr. Akhtar, I wanted to put this to you, actually. The issue of Turkey being accused of abandoning its alliance with Azerbaijan.
Well, Turkey caught itself when it closed its border in 1993 with Armenia in solidarity with its kin, Azerbaijan, both Turkish-speaking countries, although the religion is a bit different. Now it's very difficult to get out of it, and Armenia and the Azeris are not happy with this new honeymoon between Armenia and Turkey, which is underway, and they are putting heavy pressure on the Turkish government. We will see how this issue will be resolved. But now, for instance, President Aliyev was supposed to come to Istanbul 2 days ago. He refrained from coming. There is a phone diplomacy underway. I think Secretary Clinton even is involved. President Obama is involved, and I think they are trying by all means to accommodate the Azeris so that Turkey and Armenia can go ahead.
Okay, Ambassador, you want to add something?
Yes, I hear noises from Azerbaijan, but the Azeri government has been informed at every step by the Turkish government of the developments which are taking place, in fact, under the auspices of the Swiss government. So the noises coming from Azerbaijan, I think, are more addressed to their domestic politics, rather than to the international area.
Mr. Manchupian, it's interesting, there was a football match arranged in Armenia with the Turkish team playing over there. I gather a return match has been arranged to be played in Turkey with the Armenian team coming over. So football diplomacy aside, to what extent do you think this pursuit of reconciliation with Armenia is sincere, as opposed to a sort of clever ploy, basically, so that Turkey can silence the campaign of Armenians, particularly the diaspora, for example, in the US, in America, who've been very, very argumentative on this issue?
Yeah, I mean, Turkey is kind of afraid to talk about the past. So the strategy is creating a new future with a new ally, so that with this new perspective on the future, both sides can forget a bit, at least, to talk about the past. So Turkey is offering a kind of a new way for Armenia to get integrated into the world, and I think this is the price that Armenia wants to pay. In fact, maybe for some time at least, not to go back to this issue and regarding terminology, not history, in fact, but terminology.
It's interesting. Some people say that Armenia and Turkey should be left to get on with it. That there is this diplomacy going on. Things are actually going quite well. But when other people come in and make comments, even including President Obama, they highlight the divisions, and it doesn't necessarily help the situation.
Well, it has a point, of course, but no one can expect that Armenians will refrain from, calling it a genocide, and with their strategy. So I mean, if you look at it in that way, we can say that Armenia has a tactical understanding of the issue, and they are so keen on opening up the border so that they can wait some more time. They are waiting for 100 years anyway, so they can wait another 5 or 10 years.
A quick thought, Ambassador, with 1 minute to go. There's obviously economic interests at play here with the border. Is there a huge benefit from opening the border?
I was in Armenia on the 24th of April 2002, and I discussed this with Armenian friends, and there is perhaps a $1 billion trade, because today Armenia gets some of the Turkish stuff through Georgia or Iran double the price. Right. So I think we should open the border. There's no doubt about it. We should find a way to convince. I think the Azeris are convinced. But yes, there is, of course, in particular near the border area.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for this debate. Of course, it's one that's been going on a while, and I hope we get a chance to chat again, that maybe there's some resolution by that time. Thank you both. Thank you all three of you for joining us on this cold evening out on the Bosphorus. Thank you. And thank you for being with us. On tomorrow's show, live from Istanbul, we look at the situation of this country's Kurdish minority, a community which has been vocal about claims of inequality in society here. What are their specific concerns? How are they being addressed? That's all from me and the team in Istanbul and Washington. We'll see you next time.
Da